Hello guys, very good morning to all of you. Today, what I'm going to discuss with you all, that we are going to discuss mining and the miners. What are they and why are they useful, and how they are earning out of this blockchain technology. So, the literal meaning of mining. What is the literal meaning of mining? I mean, when you flip through your dictionary, then you will find that for any natural resources you go for mining. Gold mining, that coal mining, these kind of for natural resources which are deep inside that planet Earth. So you need to rig that. The same way that when I'm saying in natural resources, I mean natural plus expensive resources or valuable resources. Like gold is a valuable metal, gold is a valuable ore. So the concept of mining, what we used to do in past, the same thing is here. So they consider the founder, Mr. Satoshi, consider this Bitcoin as a very valuable or very expensive asset. So then term it as a mining. So mining in terms of blockchain technology and in terms of that cryptocurrency world, mining means that generating newer crypto coins. In short term, we can understand by this line that mining means generating newer cryptocurrency and circulating in the market. No, not circulating, the floating in the market. That is a different story, altogether different story. But generating that cryptocurrency is what mining is about. So, as I said in my previous blog, that at the time of inception or at the time of in the very beginning, he had decided that he had put a restriction that only 21 million bitcoins. Again, now I'm for historical purpose, for giving you the historical idea about this term, the origin of this term. I will be referring in few more lines. I'm referring to Bitcoin, not cryptocurrency, but later on I will switch to that cryptocurrency. Not I will not be specific to Bitcoin, but for the sake of understanding and for the for the historical data, for the origin, for knowing or understanding the origin of this term, or for knowing or understanding the origin of this coin, Bitcoin, we need to understand. So bear with me. And so the mining, at the time of inception, only it has been decided that only 21 million that Bitcoin can be mined, or can be not mined, can be generated and can be used. Out of those 21 million, the count of that 1 million, which I discussed earlier also in the previous blogs as well, that is not known, and people are means we or the rest of the world is assuming or predicting that those 1 million bitcoins have been kept by the Mr. Satoshi only. That value of that 1 million bitcoin current value is immense. I mean, it is very much. I mean, it is immense. It is countless. I mean, so, and one other data, one other number which I want to share with you, that only till now, approximately out of the 21 million, out of that 21 million, 1 million has been kept, or I mean, no one knows where it is, since we were not aware of who Mr. Satoshi is. So that if we consider 20 million bitcoins to be mined by the system, using by the system plus by the miners, we call it a miner. So by the miners, So out of those 20 million, I mean, only till now, only approximately 15 million have been generated or mined, I will say. So this is what mining is. So mining, who does these all these things? So the computer or the person who does this mining work are termed as a miner in this blockchain space. So they are named miners. So can I be a miner? Can you be a miner? That's the question. So yes, we can be a miner, but there are certain infrastructure or certain skill which is required, which is certain special skill, a special kind of skill which is required to be a miner on the blockchain, in the blockchain space. So why will I be why will I become a miner? What's the advantage if I become a miner? The advantage, and there are two advantages. No, there advantage means, I mean, you get money out of that. If you mine certain Bitcoin, then there are certain percentage of the current valuation of that Bitcoin will be paid back to you as a transaction fee. So that's the whole idea. That's why, I mean, people like to be a miner. That it's a kind of, it's a point, it's a source from where you can earn your income. So more you mine, more Bitcoin, more cryptocurrency. Now I'm switching to cryptocurrency, not Bitcoin. So the origin was that was the origin of mining. And so who started mining and how they started mining? So now, way back in 2008, after that, when that was that the concept, or the white paper which was issued by Mr. Satoshi, when it came into market, or when people across the globe, they started knowing about that and they started talking about that. Then we are talking, okay, we are discussing mining and miners today, but that has been discussed and people are discussing constantly, and they will be discussing in future also. So that this word and this term is discussed right from that day. So and then there are set of people, they started doing this mining, and now they have emerged as a big player. Now they are the big players, but they started at that time. So how they started? So here we need to understand two things. As I said in some of the previous blogs, that while developing or while conceptualizing this thing, one thing which was missed, many things which were missed as compared to that today's real world applications or softwares, I will say. There are many things, but leave it. I mean, choose the best. I'm a strong believer that I'm not going to completely ignoring that this is not helpful or not useful, but so uh, they started mining. So at that time, we discussed the program which was written, the software which was written. There was in the back of the mind, in the back of his mind, Mr. Satoshi's mind, it was there that he did, or I will say that he never considered this hardware resources plus storage space. He didn't consider about that. Somehow missed, or intentionally or unintentionally, I'm not aware of that, but he missed out that thing. So now we are facing this challenge. These mining or these miners, they require hell lot of computational power. So where will they get it from? Mining is not an easy task. It's very it is computational power. Hell lot of computational power is required. So, and second thing is storage space. All the data, and since blockchain is an interconnected network, and it's a single for a particular cryptocurrency, for a particular variant of cryptocurrency, there is one blockchain which is globally shared by all the users, all the nodes. If I consider, if node is something which is going to represent one entity or one human being, then you can imagine if I guess if 5 million human are trading or are doing certain things which related to that is in this Bitcoin world, then there will be that much of nodes in that net on that network. So and that would be interconnected. So managing those nodes are very challenging. How will you manage those? How will you make sure that all the time and all the time the nodes are stable? When I'm saying stable, the nodes are interconnected. So and one other thing, every time any kind of operation, nodes are meant for what? Meant for nodes are meant for some kind of operation. Operation could be anything. It could be a transaction. It could be a transaction, or many operations could be happening or are happening in real world. So the one important aspect of this is every time any operation happens on any of the node. Just imagine any operation happens on any of the node. Just say that okay, the node size is there are 10 million nodes on that network, which are globally interconnected, spread across the globe. So if one node gets disturbed in the sense if valid transaction operation uh, is requested to be done on that between two nodes on that network. So out of so even the operation is going to happen between two entities, between two nodes lying in the network, but all the nodes, rest of the nodes will also be disturbed. When I'm saying disturbed, they need to rearranged because what happens because since as I said that nodes are interconnected, so one node contains the address of other node. So this is the point, this is the trigger point. Whenever operation happens, any operation, so the address of that next node or the previous node gets changed in that particular in the node where that operation is being done. So because of that, it's ripple effect spread across the that what you call it network. So rearranging that infinite number, I will not say infinite, huge number of nodes residing in a network, it's a very challenging task. It's very challenging task. So apart from that computational resource intensive plus storage space intensive, it is also time consuming. That's a very challenging task and people are working on that to reduce. So that's why I mean in that video we had discussed, I was discussing, then I had said that whether it's feasible or whether it's practically possible to accept the concept as it was given, or as it was given by Mr. Satoshi, or it requires change. Then my answer is it does require hell lot of changes. Hell lot of changes. Concept is good, but there are problems, and people are working on that to eliminate those problems and to rectify those. Ethereum is the result of that. People grab that. Just imagine those guys, those teams, how genius they were. That 2008, I mean, the concept was rolled out, and I think 2010 or 11, within the span of 2 or 3 years, they altogether eliminated many problems. I will not say that at this point of time, and that is 21st of January 2018. At this point of time, Ethereum is a stable platform. I will not say no. I will not say yes. It's not as stable as it is expected to be, and that is going to happen in near future. But they started optimizing those applications, and they came up with that newer platform which was named Ethereum, which is nowadays it's parallel to Bitcoin. The ether currency is almost parallel to it. And in my view, Ethereum is far better than Bitcoin blockchain protocol. Ethereum protocol is far better than. The reason behind why the one of the thought process which goes into my mind before saying this, that it's optimized, far more optimized as compared to Bitcoin blockchain protocol. So yeah. So I was coming back to the mining panda. So mining, so they started doing that thing. And one other important point which I would like to bring it forward, that uh, at the time of writing that application, or at the time of writing that software, Mr. Satoshi thought that what if, look, the line, okay, the rate of mining is direct. If I say it this way, if I rephrase my word sentence this way, the rate of mining is directly proportional to the number of miners. What does it mean? If more miners, more bitcoins will be mined. It's because it's directly proportional. But he was aware of that. He was aware of that. So what he did in that Apple software, that he kept a limit. Even if you bring extra miners, then also you can mine XYZ, whatever amount, whatever quantity, whatever number which has been set in that system. I'm not aware of the number. I cannot give you the number. But whatever, if you increase the number of miners, that doesn't. But of course, yes, the more bitcoins will be generated. But there is a restriction that beyond that restriction, even if you increase the number of miners, that the number of bitcoins will not go up. So that's the restriction. So it was written there. Why he wrote that, no idea, or very little idea. So it's not the point to discuss here. But that's the cap. It's a cap. It's a restriction. So ठीक है, restriction are there. So now coming back to the mining. So what they did in the very beginning, like way back in 2010 or 11, what the miners started, since there was money involved, so many people started associating them with this technology. So since as we discussed that it requires CPU, it's a computational resource intensive task plus that storage space intensive. So what they did, they bought hardwares. They bought processors, special kind of processors, like for GPUs, like for graphic, video, and images processing. They are much more powerful than CPUs. Supercomputers have been designed especially for this purpose. If you go by number, if you believe in numbers, then at one place I had read that if to generate one Bitcoin, existing supercomputers of the world, if 50 existing supercomputers of the world are kept in a single room, or all have been assigned to this type to mine a Bitcoin, it will take approximately 1 year to mine one single Bitcoin. So the fact is that if you believe in numbers, the fact is it proves this fact that if 50 supercomputers takes complete 1 year to mine a single Bitcoin, then you can imagine how resource intensive this algorithm or this technology is. But and at that point it's the data. But at that point of time, people are doing that thing. But here is a difference. I found one difference. Supercomputers are defined, but the current supercomputers are defined not only for performing one particular task, or for that matter, any computer. If you say supercomputer is what? I mean, it's a speed is fast. This kind of speed processing speed is faster than normal computers. But here, supercomputers are, for that matter, any computer is not designed for performing a single task. It does multiple tasks, right? But here, in this case, in case of mining, when I term the computer which was mining that Bitcoin as a supercomputer, then don't get confused with that supercomputer with the real world supercomputers which we are aware of. These supercomputers, Bitcoin related supercomputers, are meant for only one purpose. And here in our case, I mean, we have our supercomputers, so for that matter, any computer, it does multiple tasks. It plays you video as well. It allows you to write a text file also. So it's a multiple task. But here these computers were especially designed for mining. But still, still by these figures, we can imagine, or we can come to the one of the conclusion, come to the conclusion that yes, it requires processing power, a lot of processing power. So if you go to the market and buy processing powers or computational powers, you need to have money with you. You need to buy that. So they people, the team formed, the team was formed, and they started mining. Many people started mining, and they earned a lot. But as far as their infrastructure, their infrastructure, as far as their resources, hardware resources are concerned, then they were huge. I mean, huge. And when it comes to investment, then even investment was a, I mean, there was a handsome amount of money which was invested into those. They call it rigs, cryptocurrency mining rigs. Rigs are nothing but if you, drilling kind of thing. So they call it a hardware cryptocurrency mining rigs. So what they relied on, one was GPUs, the processor, that graphics processing unit, and even that graphic processing later on that graphic processing unit was not getting the purpose of getting, I mean, not working up to the mark. Up to, when I'm saying up to the mark, means just imagine every day we have a blockchain. Miners, where does miner work? That entire thing, entire technology is revolving on one of the things, which is blockchain, underlying blockchain network. So imagine every day more people are coming to that network. So the number of nodes are increasing day by day. So the number of nodes are increasing day by day. So the rearranging, as I discussed earlier, that even a single operation on a single node can disturb all the nodes lying on the network. So if more nodes are keep on coming on the network, the rearranging will be requiring more computational power. That's for sure. So that's why, I mean, the size of that mine, size of the infrastructure, mining infrastructure of the miners. Yeah, size of mining structure, size plus investment of the infrastructure of the miners kept on growing, kept on growing. So, and it was observed that but they kept on that they, the size and that infrastructure kept on increasing, but they earned a lot. They earned a lot. It was an investment worth making, and now they realize, now they realize that it was an investment worth making at that point of time. Right move. But that was their vision, and that was a successful vision. So that is the case. Now let, as I said, now gradually they started with, the miners started with this hardware rigs, I will say, that mining rigs. When I talk about rigs, then it's hardware. Now later on our when internet evolved, there are many newer things which came into our existence, especially in the field of computation, or in the field of computers. Many new things. So and people started adopting that, and they so I think 10 years back, when people started, tech companies, big top tech companies, when they came up with the concept of cloud computing. Just the reason behind they came up with this concept was because they wanted everything. They wanted their application, their software. Yes. Why the cloud was invented? The cloud was invented just because they wanted their product, for especially for tech companies like Microsoft, IBM, Oracle. These companies, they have their own product. What form? In a form of software. They do not sell pens. They do not sell TV they do not sell water bottle. They sell softwares. So selling a software at that point from right from the beginning, since I'm from the software background, so I understand how they treat that. So in the beginning, what how the software was sold. So software was considered as a product of that organization, like Oracle or IBM is, I just to say, if Microsoft is selling you that what Windows, so that's a product for them. Although it's a software, but it's a product. But later on, world realized that no, okay. Now when you buy a product, no, I'm when I'm saying product, consider it as a software product. I'm not talking about a product which is manufactured by one of the pen manufacturer. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about software products. So earlier it was that softwares were considered as a product, and since it was a product, so sales team from that organization, they were responsible, sales and marketing team from that organization were responsible to sell it out to their respective customers globally. That was the whole intention. But later on, when we evolved, when especially internet evolved, and I will not say internet only, this our software industry evolved. So they thought of one thing, that no, I don't want to sell it as a product, I want to sell it as a service. Now we have to digest one thing. We are living in a world, we are living in a service oriented world. Services are sold, and we buy that every day, we buy that. So they change their mind. Now they consider the same application, the same software which was considered as a product by that company 10 years back. They started thinking in that direction, no, I will not sell it as a product. And the backing that concept, backing that idea was internet. Yes, internet was the backbone of that thinking process. If I do not see if now I sometimes I think how to what extent internet has changed our life. It's a invention. It's a God's invention, or it's God's gift to this world. I guess. It's my view, but okay. So now the internet is backing that funda, that concept, which tech companies were talking about at that point of time. I'm not remembering, but approximately 10 years back that was happening. So and I am from software background. That's why I know the things inside out. So what they thought of? Okay, service. Now again here when we talk about service, then service was also there in 100 years back. 100, but we were not selling that. We were not selling that. But as the brain of human being started evolving, and they so that so they shifted the mind that if I will not be giving anything to anyone if there is no money given back to me. Such kind of thinking started popping in humans' brain. So the service industry, now it is an industry, and that's the whole idea, that the whole thinking process which was going, that what earlier used to be considered as a free service, now people said no, I will add some value to those services, and I will sell it out. Sell it out means I will earn money out of that. Earlier it was used to be a free thing. But yeah, there is no free lunch concept here in this world. So you have to pay for everything. Not always in terms of money only. And then you have to pay for everything. So at that point of time, they came up with, now we had they conceptualized this thing that okay, we will be selling our product, current product, as a service. Why? Because they wanted to reach to the masses. Because at that point, if you buy the software, software as a product, then buying a software doesn't mean you are using that. You need hardware, networking, to run that software. You need a computer to run that install that application, right? So if your organization, if you're buying certain thing from one from some tech companies like IBM, if you're buying certain product from Microsoft product, then you need to buy some machine, some computer to run those products. So where will you go? If you're a big organization and if your pocket allows, then you will go to IBM. So you bought your software from Microsoft. For running that software, you need hardware. You went to IBM. So why and now running a software also require networking because in a real world near a real world application, one computer is not sufficient for running a real world application. There are multiple computers which needs to be communicating with each other so that they could perform a particular task. So how will you connect these all those computers? So networking. So altogether these three things like okay hardware, software, and this networking, and plus one other thing that if you have your application, if you are storing certain data, then where will you store? So you need a database. Now you need a database. You bought your software from Microsoft, you bought your hardware from IBM, and now for database you went to Oracle. Now and for this networking task you went to Cisco. Now, there are four companies, big companies, giant companies. You went to you paid some amount and you bought everything, and now and you now you have if you bought everything, then now you have a IT infrastructure. Now I will be not saying that hardware, software, database, networking. No, I will term it as infrastructure. So four things which was required to buy. So and once everything is done, then we call it a infrastructure, IT infrastructure. Every organization has a IT infrastructure. Now my point is IT infrastructure. If setting up a IT infrastructure, is it a cheap affair or inexpensive affair? No, it requires hell lot of money for running for organizations. I will not take for organization hell lot of money. So cost of purchasing is very high. Was very high rather. So at that point of time they thought of no. I mean organization started claiming the organizations which was buying those infrastructure from different vendors, they started shouting, they started complaining that okay, how to reduce the cost of purchasing, cost of setting up the infrastructure, correct infrastructure which suitable for running my own business. They started pondering, they started thinking about that. So again they went back to their vendors. They said okay, this is our problem, now solve this. This is your customer's problem. Now solve this. You're supposed to solve this. You are supposed to provide me the solution. So at that point of time, the individual didn't have the single answer to any of the customer of theirs. Yeah, that is fact. Microsoft didn't have that answer because Microsoft at that point of time Microsoft was dealing in software only, and the client is talking about infrastructure. Even the client was not talking about software. IBM doesn't have power to resolve the real issue which customer was facing at that point of time alone, because IBM was a organization which was selling the hardwares, servers. Cisco was not able to solve that problem, and alone. I will say alone. Oracle was not able to solve the problem alone. So they came together. Came together. These are the four companies, but there are many other companies. So I mean that those software companies had that IT companies. I will say IT companies. They had their common question, and they started solving that problem of customers, individual customers, and they thought of collaboration. They came together on a single platform. Yes, they came together on a single platform and thought of the intention of coming together on a single platform was just to resolve the problem of their respective customer, and the customer, what the customer was complaining, complaining that okay, cost of setting up the infrastructure, I need to bring it down bring it down further and further. So that was the whole idea. That was the reason that why this was thing. So then when they came together, they started thinking of that. So after due diligence, they came up with one of the idea, which was named cloud. So 10 years back, they came up with cloud. They they said okay. Solution to every problem of yours, yours means customers, is cloud. And they said that okay, I will, Oracle said I will not be selling my hardware, I will not be selling my product. But individual respective companies who are master in their respective fields are not saying that no, I am selling only my only I will be selling that thing only which I am expert in. They stop talking about that. I sell this, I sell hardware, I sell networking, I sell software, I sell database. No, they start saying that if application of a real world application of any meaningful application are composed of these four components, then why we are calling them individually? Just bring them together and bundle it together and sell it as a service, not as a product. Sell it as a service. That's the whole idea of this service. Why they started, how this thing was invented. So now coming back to the cloud. So they terminated cloud. They at that point of time they said okay. They agreed upon one thing, that we will not be selling our product, our product as our produced item as a product. We will sell it as a service. So they said okay, cloud. We will be providing. They started providing cloud-based platforms. Cloud-based platforms. So as a normal user, as an organization, small or big, huge, giant, you can buy their infrastructure from them over internet. Of course, yes. Here also, that's why I keep on saying that the internet is the backbone of every development human being has experienced in past 30 years. Internet is the backbone for everything. Directly or indirectly, internet is involved everywhere. Even if we are reaching to that moon and all, we are planning our space. Even in spaces, these networks are handy or useful. So now cloud. So they indicated cloud. So they started sending it. So if I'm a small organization, I can, if I have when I'm saying small, who is big, who is rich, or who is small or who is big in terms of business or in life also. One who has more money is richer. It's always a relative thing. No one is the richest. So it's a relative thing. So what? Small organization went to, as for example, Microsoft. They said this is my business, uh, this is my business, and I want to automate, or I want IT infrastructure in my business. So the consultant, some consultant came from Microsoft or respective vendors. So they analyzed, they came up with ideas, they understood their problem and they came up with a solution, and the IT infrastructure was sold to that small organization, and a small organization paid money back to the vendor. Now the difference was huge. Difference was huge when the customer was buying. When customer was setting up its infrastructure by buying hardware, software, database, networking individually, the cost was I think 10 times far more than this cloud based. So the customer, so that resolved the problem. Actually, that resolved the problem, and that's a proven fact. Because still, I mean, we go to cloud. So Now that was the funda, that was a cloud based. So now here in this case, in the case of blockchain technology also, what happened, that they started with hardware rigs. So now the cost of purchase, the cost of purchasing, or the cost of purchasing was very huge. The initial investment was very huge. Although they earned a lot, but the initial investment was huge. And since that the computational that even the electricity, the cost of setting up that mining infrastructure was very high. Even apart from that, buying hardwares from market, you had to pay your electricity bill as well. Now all the computers, they were becoming very hot. Within a fraction of second they were, so for cooling them also there are many hardwares which was required. So in nutshell, I will say that cost of setting up that those hardware rigs for mining at that point of time bitcoins were very huge. So just to eliminate that thing, so now again the miners started complaining the way businesses were complaining to software companies, the hardware or IT companies. Then now the miners started complaining the same thing repeated, the same fund. So there are many entities which came into the market and they start providing those hardware rigs, the power of those hardware rigs, as a service. So the concept of cloud-based mining came into. So now we have two things. Either if you want to mine, either you set up your own rigs, hardware mining rigs, which requires initial investment, huge investment. And the second is the cloud-based. There are many, just has player, and is one of the platform, I will say, cloud-based platform, mining platform. You register there, and Genesis, one other what you call it, cloud-based mining platform, has player and cloud that Genesis. So how will, so if I want to mine myself because I am interested in earning money, or if I know that okay, mining Bitcoin fetch you money, then why will not I, why will I, what will I wait for? I will love to mine. If it is fetching me money, then why will I wait? So that's the feeling of every individual, regardless of their financial history. Again, I'm coming back to the point that regardless of financial status means this is human nature. So if there is money, then people start working on that. People show their willingness to work on that because money is involved. So the same thing happened. So for doing this cloud-based mining, as I said, that for hardware rigs, you require initial investment. Or cloud-based mining, by paying a very small little amount, you can be a miner. You can behave as a miner. You can act as a miner. I have subscribed to one of the. I wanted to be a miner, not just for the sake of just because I wanted to earn money. No, that was not the intention because I cannot invest that much in rigs. But I wanted to learn certain things, so I became a miner. So you go to those sites or you Google it, how to do cloud-based mining. So there are many platforms. I'm not endorsing anyone, but yeah, you will have to Google it on your own. Okay, so cloud-based mining and GPU-based mining, that hardware rigs. So now this is the infrastructure. Now, what's the role of miners? Who can be a miner? So if anyone can be a miner. First thing, there's nothing, there's no special or a specific skill which is required to be a miner. No. So what's the work of miner? So miners, just now coming back to that thing, blockchain technology. Just imagine that blockchain network, complicated, interconnected, distributed, spread across the globe. These are the three. This is blockchain. So now mining. So not a first point. Not every node on the network will be considered as a miner. Not every node. Miners are special nodes. on the network, not everyone on the line. If do not get confused with this thing that if I am on the network, then I am a miner. No, that is not. It's a special case. It's a special kind of node which will be acting as a miner on that network. That's now what the rule. What do they do? So to earn money. So we have two work which have been assigned to those special entities, or I will say special nodes, which we consider special nodes. The two entities. One is really generating those cryptocurrencies, whether it's Bitcoin, Ether, or anyone. That cryptocurrency that needs to be generated. First thing. Second thing is, as I said few minutes back, that we keep on talking about nodes, interconnected nodes, distributed nodes, blah 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 blah. But one of the important thing, now if the node is formed, if the network is formed, then network will never sit idle, right? Any doubt? No. There would be some operation on those networks, and we know that any operation on any network or any node on the lying on the network will require. I will not say disturb. Will require rearrangement of the entire network. That's a very tough task. So what miners do there? The miners, what they do, they generate money first thing. So now second thing, if any kind of operation is happening on any of the node, so those operations need to be verified. Those operations need to be verified. Then only that operation, or that I'm terming it as an operation, but in blockchain world it is called transaction. But for me, I mean, it's okay, it's operation. So for any operation, they require rearrangement, right? So the verification, who will be verifying that entity? Those transaction. The verification is, what kind of verification you require for any kind of transaction? There are many numbers. There are different kind of. Since now I'm removing that word operation. Now I'm coming to the more technical word transaction. So there could be different kind of transaction. Transaction doesn't mean, don't get confused that by this term, that transaction doesn't mean that transaction means financial transaction. No, transaction doesn't mean that you are not do not restrict yourself to financial transaction. Transaction could be anything. Give and take. So that is the case. So verification, what will you so this task of verification will be lying with these miners. So miners have two tasks: one to generate crypto coins, second one is to verify all the transaction, all the pending transaction. And now here is one of the other thing, that how will they earn money, since there could be many miners. Limit of miners have been set, but the number is very high, so there could be many miners. So now, in case of, as I said, that they have been given two tasks. Doing those tasks, they can fetch money for themselves. So the two tasks, one of them is generating crypto coins. So how will they generate crypto coins? So the system, during generation of the crypto coin, one complex mathematical problem or algorithm is given to them. To them means what? To everyone lying on the network. To everyone lying on the network. And one, it's like a puzzle solving. One who solves the problem first, he or she will be rewarded. he or she, forget about that, miners will be rewarded. One who, the entity which will be solving that complex algorithmic, complex mathematical problem first, first. Solving a problem is not a problem. Solving a problem is not a problem. Sir, solving that complex mathematical problem is not a problem. Minimum one can, but within that, who solved that first? Who solved that first? So the one who solved that first, they will be rewarded. That's money. So first thing. So they start doing that. Now second thing is verification. Now that and the source of income of there is that generation. And now again here, in case of verification of any transaction, what do you mean by verification could be anything, but in normal transaction, when I'm talking about transaction, again I'm talking about financial transaction. I'm restricting my sentence to financial transaction just for the sake of understanding. When I talk about financial transaction, the financial, what happens in financial exchange of money in between two entities, one is called giver and one is called taker, one is called sender or one is called receiver, whatever word suits your choice. So transaction. So now one of the example of the verification is, if a entity A wants to send certain entity some entity B, lying in the same network, again go just mind my words, lying in the same network, uh, and if A wants to send, just say that $2 and $5, $10 to the entity B. Then for sending a particular $10, you need to have $10 with you in your account. If you have $9, then how can you initiate a transaction of sending $10 to entity B? It's not the right way of doing. So this is called verification. And now the major problem with this is the verification. When it comes to verification, then it sounds very easy. That okay, verifying, okay, you just need to check that account, that whether amount residing in that account is greater than 10 or not. That's a simple mathematical logic, if else. But that's not that the case. That's not that easy. Because the reason I'm giving you a brief idea, I'm not going deep into that, but brief idea is that whenever such kind of verification happens, then it verifies the historical data as well. Now when I talk about historical data, means historical data is the past transaction of that particular entity. A past transaction. So past transaction could be between this entity whom I am verifying and any of the entity lying on the network. If million of entities, who knows whom he has interacted with in past? Who knows? We do not keep those historical data with in a single place where you go and fetch the data. No, that is not the case. It's spread across the network. So that's not that easy. Trust my words. I know that. Trust my words. That's not easy, and it's not necessary for you to understand all this. But if you trust my words, then go by your words and say it's not that easy. So the point here is that they are earning out of that. So that's verifying whether that amount which is lying with that account is greater than 10 or not is also a type of verification, but there are many more. So and one who verifies the transaction, the whole idea, one who, when I say verifying means verify plus. Now if the verification, as I said earlier, that rearrangement of those nodes, entire blockchain rearrangement. So those rearrangements are also the responsibility of this miner in that situation. So and one who does this thing first, uh, gets rewarded in monetary terms. Gets rewarded. So these are the two ways by which you can earn money out of this technology. Of course, here you can go in trade and all, but that is different, altogether different story. But mining, when we talk about mining, because why I thought of sharing this, because when I was learning this newer thing, then there are the one major problem which I experienced at that point at all. Even now I am experiencing those problems. Now, these terms, so many different terms, and all those terms are defined by or are interpreted differently by different people, and they are sharing their views on internet. So whom to trust? That's the major problem. So better trust yourself. Just do your homework and bring your mind also into that before. So I want. So there are many. Although there were many terms, but one of them was mining. So I thought of sharing that thing with you as well. So I hope. So and now. Uh, One of the important thing in terms of fetching money out of these two steps, I will say that if you have money, that amount of money, then you go for that hardware risks. You set up your infrastructure, you earn a lot of money and enjoy, man. But if you are a small one, if you have a small little money in your pocket, then better go for this cloud based. You register cloud based hash flare and Genesis mining. You can Google it, and on the very first search result it will be shown. You just sign up. Sign up is free. First thing, sign up is free. The second thing is you will have to buy. Yes, I need to give you a brief idea about those, how they are working. Because why I am sharing this, because few days back I bought this for myself, and I started exploring. Then whatever I learned, I wanted to share that thing with you. So I bought. I first I signed up with Hashflare. Signed up free. That was free. There was no money which was charged for me in signing up, of course. And now you can sign up. You do not require to require your complete information like name, PAN number, blah blah blah. The usual way when we go to any bank or anything, there are many data which they require for their verification or for their record. But here, what happens if you're going to mine, if you go and register your name only with your email ID, register your it will register you, and once you are registered, then you are free to use the services which they are providing. So now, uh, what kind of services they are providing? Since it's a cloud based, so it's service. What services they are providing? So here, what in case of Hasplayer, what I observed, that what they are selling, what is their product or service for that matter, what they are selling, actually what is happening underneath, that they have their own hardware rigs or cloud mining hardware rigs, which is expensive, which is not in the reach of common small investor or a small guy who has very small little amount in their pocket. What they did is they started what they did they invested in that hardware infrastructure, hardware mining infrastructure, and they started selling those processing powers in bits and pieces. Yes, that's the whole thing. So they call it hash power. They call it a hash power. So they sell it as the giga hash power per second. Means per second is the rate of processing that indicates rate of processing. So in that case, what they are selling hash powers. So you go and buy, and for buying any hash power, all you need is you can buy. I don't know. I do not remember what is the minimum amount by which you can. But even I think, I mean, by investing or by buying small little hash powers, you can start your mining. Now, starting your mining, if you register, and one word of caution out here is, while you are buying that hash power, so now here you are paying certain thing. So every bit of horsepower is associated with some real world our currency, or you can buy it using bitcoins as well. Not, I will not say all the crypto coins are accepted these days, but since bitcoins and ethers are both two are the cryptocurrencies which are being adopted slowly but steadily. So using these bitcoins and ether also you can buy it. But here, so now here, although these things are written on the site as well, and they have written in their fact, but my point is why I talked about this, and I will suggest to read it before purchasing how the transaction, how they are doing the transaction, because one thing word of caution out here is that since it's new and since there is no accountability lying here, so it becomes your sole responsibility if you are investing even a single rupee or even single penny on these technologies. Be sure or do some kind of background verification of those entities whom you are transacting with, especially when you are transferring certain your money from your account to their account. So how they are, because the chances, I will not say that everyone, again, I mean, I'm looking at the positive side of this technology. I'm very fascinated and I'm looking at it very positively. But again, for the sake of your security, or I thought it's better to convey this thing to you guys, that before doing any kind of financial transaction on those networks, be cautious. So yeah. So these are the things as far as when it comes to mining, and I will suggest for small investors or for people who wants to or wishes to mine for the learning purpose or for earning purpose, they go for cloud-based mining. Of course, yes, if you, the drawback is that although it's cheaper, when we do our comparative analysis, then we will say that cloud-based mining is cheaper. Of course, it's cheaper because it is being sold in bits and pieces, not as whole. That's why it's cheaper. Second thing, since those hardware rigs, those mining rigs are faster, so probability of generating bitcoins, or for that matter for any cryptocurrency, probability of generating are quite far higher than this cloud-based mining. So yes, these are advantages, disadvantages. So it's all, again, it's up to you to decide. So yeah, this is yes, this is all about, this is the brief idea about mining. If you want to go deep into that, Google it and learn and share. Thank you.